Shyam, can you hear me?
Hi sir, good morning.
Hello?
Yeah sir, good morning. Hi sir. Sir, I can able to hear your voice. Hi sir. Sir, are you able to hear my voice?
Hello, Shyam. Please
Hi.
wait.
Hello.
Hello, Shyam. Please wait. Then you have to join the session. Then you join. Wait. Please wait.
Fine. No problem. No, actually the sir has been okay.
Call is in offline. Call will join again.
Wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi sir. This is Shyam.
Shyam, can you hear me?
Yes sir. I can able to hear your voice.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me
Sir,
what is the issue? So
sir, I just
yeah.
downloaded the software, sir. It is in flat file only. Next to what to do, I'm not getting.
So did you untar the software?
Untar means, no, I'm not getting what is untar.
Uncompressed kind of thing, basically.
No, nothing, sir. It's just nothing but one flat file like that it has been came.
So you mean to say the download was successful, right?
Yes, download is successful. At last, yesterday night I have been download is been done.
Do one thing. Can you share your screen? I will make you communicate now.
Yeah. Okay.
Do one thing. Okay. What's your name? Sham, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So after this, make me organizer. Okay.
Okay.
Just a second. So try to download some plugin. Okay.
Okay.
And you can share
Add
your screen.
extension.
Yep. Add extension. Yep.
Now you able to see my this one, sir?
No, I cannot see. So you shared it.
Yes, here I
You need
have.
to. You need to click this button. Okay, you need to click at the top. You'll see one audio button and one computer button. Click on the computer button which says share your
Okay.
screen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Share button is not getting highlighted. It's still running.
So you're not able to share?
No, sir.
Or you downloaded the plugin, right?
Yes, yes, I downloaded.
Do one thing. Make me presenter again. I'll show you how to do it. Organizer presenter.
How to do presenter here?
Right click on my name and say presenter.
Okay.
No, make me, not Rajesh, basically.
Raju, no, sir.
Raju,
Down,
RJ.
Raju, I clicked on right click.
I think Rajesh got presenter, basically, not Raju.
Now, sir.
No, right click on my name, which is Raju.
No, that one is not showing, sir. My presenter here.
Okay, I think Rajesh, you there? I think I went to Rajesh. Rajesh, you there?
Sir.
So,
Yeah,
Hello?
so you want to show? Yeah, Rajesh, I can hear you. So you want to show something or something?
Yes, sir. Something is getting. Show my
Can
screen.
you? Okay, so you want to show something?
Yes.
Yeah,
Please
just show.
choose confidential windows when ready. Show my screen.
Yep. So click on that basically, yeah.
Yeah, I'm clicking that. Nothing to do.
No, you want to show something on your screen or you have any questions?
No anything displaying my screen. Not displaying.
What is not displaying?
నథింగ్ సార్ ఏమి కనిపించట్లేదు ఇప్పుడైతే
అదే మీకేం డౌట్ అంటే మీకేం డౌట్ ఏం లేదు కదా పంచండి నా రాజు పేరు మీద రైట్ క్లిక్ చేసి మేక్ ప్రెసెంటర్ అని కొట్టండి మీరు ఇది మీరు అది కింద నెట్ మీటింగ్ ఓపెన్ చేసి మీరు
దాంట్లో ఆర్గనైజర్ ఉంది సార్ రాజు ఆర్గనైజర్ మేక్ ప్రెజెంటర్
మేక్ ప్రెసెంటర్ కొట్టండి
ఓకే సార్
So see what I'm trying to show you is I think how the people who downloaded the software, you will get file like this. You will get the file with this name. You just need to right click and say with any WinZip or something you need to do extract. Sham, you got this file basically
yes,
something.
I didn't got this file. I didn't got this file, sir. I didn't got this file.
No, yeah, I think whatever the file which you downloaded, you will get it's a compressed file basically. Just right click and say, do you have WinZip on your computer?
Yeah, I have in WinZip, but the file itself only downloaded. నాకు అసలు ఇలాంటిదే రాలేదు సార్. నార్మల్ గా ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ వచ్చింది, అందుకే నాకు కొంచెం
అంటే
డౌట్ వస్తుంది.
మీ డౌన్లోడ్ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అన్నట్టుంది అయితే. ఓ పని చేయండి, నేను అయితే ఈరోజు మీకు ఇంకో లింక్ పంపిస్తాను. ఇది కొంచెం చిన్న ఫైల్, ఇది ఫాస్ట్ గా డౌన్లోడ్ అవుతుంది మీకు. జస్ట్ ట్రై టు డౌన్లోడ్ దిస్. ఇది కొంచెం ఈజీగా ఉంటుంది దానిలో మీకు.
రైట్ సార్. ఓకే సార్.
ఒక నిమిషం పంపిస్తాను అక్కడ మీకు.
Hello sir.
చెప్పండి. హలో.
Sorry, I'm using 32-bit operating system, and is it work on 32-bit operating system? Whatever you send a link in the before class.
I think it should be working because మీరు VMware ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తున్నారు కదా. VMware మీకు ఏమైనా ఎర్రర్ వచ్చిందా? మీకు ఏమైనా
VMware error అని రాలేదు సార్.
మీకు ఎర్రర్ రాకపోతే మీకు పనిచేస్తుంది. 32-bit కూడా పనిచేస్తుంది. నో ప్రాబ్లం.
Okay. Sir, and one more thing, I'm not clear with how to download DB2 in Windows system. When I tried, it shows. Sir.
చెప్పండి.
యాక్చువల్గా నేను IBM ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ సెంటర్లోకి వెళ్తే డైరెక్ట్గా తీసుకుంటే 10.5 వర్షన్లో 7 తీసుకుంటే డైరెక్ట్గా వస్తుంది. బట్ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ అని చెప్పేది చూపించట్లేదు. అది గూగుల్లో మళ్ళీ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ అని చూపిస్తే
మీరు అంటే వాట్ ఐమ్ సేయింగ్ ఇస్ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేయకండి, ఎందుకంటే ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ వోంట్ బి హ్యావింగ్ ఆల్ ద ఫీచర్స్. మీకు విండోస్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ కావాలని చెప్పండి, నేను ఇస్తాను. మీకు ఏది విండోస్ లో దేంట్లో కావాలి? మీకు లైనక్స్ లో కావాలి, విండోస్ లో కావాలా? మీకు అంటే మీరు ఇది ఫస్ట్ ఇది డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. అంటే విండోస్ కంటే ఇది బెటర్ మీకు. ఇప్పుడు మీరు డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తారా? మీరు
డౌన్లోడ్ చేశాను సార్.
డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తే తర్వాత మీరు ఓపెన్ చేశారా? ఓపెన్ చేయగలిగారా? కెన్ యూ ఓపెన్?
లైనక్స్ లో ఓపెన్ చేశాను.
వచ్చిందా లైనక్స్ మీకు?
VMware లో వచ్చింది సార్. 64-bit లో ఓపెన్ చేశాను ఆల్రెడీ.
వచ్చిందా? కమాండ్స్ రన్ చేయగలుగుతున్నారా మీరు?
రన్ చేస్తున్నాను సార్.
ఓకే, గుడ్. ఐ థింక్ చూడండి మరి, ఫర్ పీపుల్ హూ ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ ఇట్, ఇప్పుడు నేను మీకు ఇంకో లింక్ పంపించాను. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో సేమ్ DB2 on Linux only basically. ఓకే, మీకు లాస్ట్ ఇది డౌన్లోడ్ అవ్వట్లేదు, ఇష్యూస్ ఉన్నాయంటే ఇది డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ టు సే ద దిస్ ఈస్ అ డిఫరెంట్ సోర్స్ అంతే ఇది. ఓకే, జస్ట్ ట్రై దిస్. మీకు విండోస్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ కావాలంటే నేను మీకు లింక్ పంపిస్తాను. మీరు ఏం చెప్పారు? 32-bit అని చెప్పారా మీరు?
అవును సార్.
32-bit అంటే నేను మీకు లింక్ పంపిస్తాను, మీరు అక్కడ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి లేకపోతే. ఓకే
సార్, ప్లీజ్.
ఓకేనా? షూర్.
సార్, ఇంకోటి నాకు చిన్న కన్ఫ్యూజన్ లో ఉన్నాను. అది ఫిక్స్ ప్యాక్ అనేది ఒకటి చూపిస్తుంది, ఇంకోటి వచ్చేసి ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ సర్వీసేషన్ కానీ ఇలా కొడితే అది ఇంకో లింక్ చూపిస్తుంది సార్. డౌన్లోడింగ్ కూడా 2 సెపరేట్ గా చూపిస్తుంది.
మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ ఎడిషన్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి, ఫిక్స్ ప్యాక్స్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేయకండి. బేసిక్లీ ట్రై టు డౌన్లోడ్ ద కంప్లీట్ థింగ్. ఓకేనా? మీకు అర్థమైందా?
ఓకే సార్.
So before getting started, anyone having issues? See, try to download the softwares and key, and I mean, if you're facing any issues, let me know. I can help you immediately. Basically, I think 3 people they have issues. I have sent you one more link, so just try with the new link which I have forwarded to today, and try to just see. I'll just try to tell you what you need to do. Simply go to the Google Drive which I have forwarded you. I think you should be getting. నేను నాకే పంపించుకుని మీకు చూపిస్తాను. See, I will send the link to myself so that you exactly know what you have to do. చూడండి, if you send it, I mean, I have sent it to myself only. So on the same way I have sent it to you. Just go to the mail and click open. Okay. So once you click open, you'll get this page and you will see an option called download. If you click download, it says it is not able to scan some viruses. That's okay. So you can see the size is 5.9 GB. Just say download anyway and give some locations. You can see here my download is happening basically. Okay. So I'm cancelling it basically, but this is a way in which you have to download the software. So let's assume that the software is downloaded and you will see this file basically. You see this file basically. Just right click on the file and use WinZip or something and say extract. this will take some time, but this will, I mean, see, the file which I have uploaded is a compressed file, which I compressed it through WinZip software basically. Okay, so the file which you will download is also a WinZip file. Just try to download the software and right click and using WinZip try to extract it. Hello?
ఎక్కడున్నావు వచ్చేసాను ఇంటికి సరే నేను వస్తాను.
Okay, so once you download it and once you extract it, you'll see a lot of files inside this basically. I told you, right? Before that, I have given you the steps what you need to do for installation of the things also basically. Okay, let me show you the steps again. I have make a note of all the steps also. I forwarded yesterday. Workstation, then we could link పంపించాను. You download this. Second, ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పింది అదే. ఇప్పుడు మీ the thing which I have shown you, just download here and try to untar it or try to uncompress it using WinZip. Okay. So once you do it, as I told you, you will see these files. Out of these files, try to look at the file which has 3 boxes, or you can look at the type. The type will be VMware Virtual Machine Configuration. Okay. Right click on this box and say open. So if you click and open, the VMware will open, the Linux will automatically start basically. Okay, so leave it 5 minutes. So once you start it, you will see box like this basically, which has the Linux with DB2 already installed. Okay, just log on to the box. I have given you the username and password. The username is root, the Red Hat, password is Red Hat. Okay, ఇది కూడా మీకు ఇక్కడ రాసి పెట్టాను. I have given everything in this list basically. Where is the list? Okay, so you log on to the box as root and Red Hat. So once you log on, open terminal, switch and do DB2 start. It's very simple basically. Okay, log on here, then switch to SAPT and simply do DB2 start, which means that you are starting one instance.
Sir, I have one doubt. Actually, download VMware workstation, that is different, sir. That
So
one is different. We need to
VMware
download it that one.
First, you have to download the VMware Workstation 10 basically. Okay, the second step is to download the file which I shared with you. Okay, so those are the 2 different things.
Sir, where we don't have that link, right? VMware workstation link we didn't send, right?
See, I have shared with you on the last class. మీకు ఇచ్చాను అందరికీ.
Okay,
Did anyone downloaded it basically? Did anyone has the link? నేను మీకు నెట్ లో చూసి పంపించాను. ఉందా ఎవరి దగ్గర లింక్? ఎవరైనా సేవ్ చేసుకున్నారా? ఓకే, నేను మీకు మళ్ళీ పంపిస్తాను. మీ పేరు ఏంటండి? Who's speaking? Shyam. Okay, I'll forward you the link basically. I should be having somewhere it. Chin, they should not take so much of time. Okay, I'll give you the link right away. Okay, see, keep the software ready by tomorrow. I mean, let's see, because we already had 1 week of classes, right? I mean, it should be. Google lo koduthe vachestadi. It's simple basically. Okay, let me give you this quickly. చూడండి, ఇదే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. 10.0.0 డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మీరు హైయెస్ట్ వర్షన్స్ ఏం డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుంటే విల్ బి ఇన్ ట్రబుల్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ క్లిక్ దిస్ యూ విల్ బి ఏబుల్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ ఇట్ బేసికలీ. ఇది చూడండి, లింక్ సేవ్ చేసుకోండి. ట్రై టు డౌన్లోడ్ ద సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఫ్రమ్ హియర్. సో complete the steps by today, so that by tomorrow you should be ready with all the things basically. Okay, go to the link and download the VMware workstation. This is the first step which you are doing. Second step, download the software which I have given you. Steps clear ena? Ingena doubts unnaya evarkaina before we start for today? Ingena doubts unnaya meeku? Hello? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so we'll get started with the today's thing. Okay.
Sir.
చెప్పండి.
Just I seen your Linux material also. It is totally shell scripting, but there is no commands which we are using in the
నేను అది
for
ఇంకా మీకు
DB2.
మీకు చెప్తాను ఆగండి. మీరు ఫస్ట్ ఈ లైన్ ఇది డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తే నేను మీకు చెప్తాను. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ వాజ్ వెయిటింగ్ ఫర్ బేసికలీ. ఓకే, సో మీ
Okay.
VMwares అందరికి రెడీగా ఉందనుకోండి. ఇఫ్ ఐ సేస్ ఐ మీన్ ఇఫ్ ఐ టీచ్ basically.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. So
Yeah.
మీరు just keep the machines ready. మీకు see if you're stuck somewhere, put me mail. I'll reply to the things immediately. Basically, ఈరోజు try చేయండి, download it, because I'll teach you Linux. That's what I said you in the beginning also, right? So if you have the Linux machines ready, you can practice on Linux boxes. So the intention was you, yeah, just download it. నేను మీకు ఆ PDF చెప్తాను, చాలా మంచి PDF అది. I'll teach you. Don't worry about it. Okay.
సార్ ఇంకోటి కమాండ్స్ విండోస్ లో వచ్చేవాటికి లైనక్స్ లో వచ్చేవాటికి డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటాయా లేకపోతే రెండు కామన్ గా ఉంటాయా?
అంటే చూడు, DB2 commands will be same in both the places. DB2 commands won't change. Okay. The OS
Okay.
level commands will change. అంటే Windows లో మీకు separate commands వాడతారు, Linux లో use the separate commands, but DB2 commands what you run on Windows and Linux are same. Okay.
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 Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get started. We almost lost 20 minutes. Okay, so we'll get started. Okay. చూడండి, మీకు లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో, in the last class which is almost 2 days back, okay, so we are seeing something about instance, we are seeing something about the configuration parameter of instance kind of thing basically. Okay, so just to recap, నేను లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో నేను ఇదే చెప్తున్నాను. ఒకసారి చూడండి బోర్డు మీద, సారీ, look at the screen. So what I'm trying to say is that configuration parameters in DB2 exist at two levels basically. One is at instance level, another is at database level. So if you want to see the configuration parameters at instance level, this command me class lo cheppanu, get dbm cfg. So I have run it and also show you. Okay, if you want I can run it and show it again. So these things are important, so try to understand what are configuration parameters, how to look at them kind of thing basically. So I'll open this quickly. So ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లోకి I want to instance, if you want to look at the configuration parameters, మీ క్లాస్ చెప్పాను, get dbm cfg. So if you run this command, it will show you the configuration parameter which exists at instance level. So you can see here there are a lot of parameters. We'll see the parameters names and each and everything in the classes. Okay. So remember, this is a parameter name and this is a value for the parameter. So you can see lot of parameters exist here. Okay. On the same way, you can also see the configuration parameter at database level. Okay, so how to see the configuration parameters at the database level? Get dbcmg for your database name. Okay, so if you want to see it, so the command is db2 get dbcmg for your database name. Let's say I want to look at the configuration parameters for sample. So this is the command, get dbcmg for sample. So you can see that there are a lot of parameters and each parameter has a value. Okay. So last class how to update the configuration parameters. This is the command update dbm cfg using the parameter which you want to update and the value which you want to update. Okay. On the same lines, if you want to update the database level parameter, this is the value. Okay. If you update the parameters are classified into two types. One is static parameters and dynamic parameters. Static parameters means if you change the value won't be immediately changed. You need to do the restart of the instance basically. Okay, so if you update a static parameter, you have to do a restart, which is db2 stop and which is db2 start. Okay. On the same lines, if you're updating a database level parameter, it is also classified into two types. One is static, another is dynamic. Static means you need to restart the database. So how to stop the database? You need to run a command called deactivate db, and how to start it? You need to run a command called activate db. So it's as simple as that. Configuration parameter, look at the command. Running these commands very frequently in the coming classes, so I'll show you. Okay, so we'll keep on updating it basically. Okay, few examples before we move forward, and we also covered this also basically. Okay, we'll open it MS Notepad. So this I told in the last class. I told that a Linux server or a Windows server can have multiple instances, and each instance can have multiple databases. I'm trying to show you my server is having 2 instances. So this is the first instance, which is DB2 SAPT. This is the second instance. The first instance is having 3 databases by name D1, D2 and D3. Okay. Second instance is having 2 databases by name D4 and D5. Okay. So if I want to change the configuration parameter of DB2 SAPT instance, log on to DB2 SAPT and change it. Okay. If you want to modify the configuration parameter for DB2 ERPT instance, log on to ERPT. You know how, because I told you, right, instance is nothing but user. You can log into the user. You should know the password for the user, which will be shared with you basically. So if I want to work with DB2 ERPT, log on to DB2 ERPT. So once you are into the ERPT, if you want to change the configuration parameters at instance level, get dbm cmg, or if you want to change the configuration parameter for D5 database, command is get dbcmg for D5 database. Okay, it's as simple as that basically. Okay. Any questions till this point before we move forward? Clear? Okay. Okay. So today we'll see a step further basically. So today we'll see like some of the objects which are important in the real time, which we will be using basically. Okay. I told you about the architecture of DB2 in the last classes also. Okay. So today we'll see few objects which you will be working in the companies basically. So then the last week we have spent a couple of hours on defining the architecture of DB2. So this we have discussed number of times. But remember, in simple thing, okay, we always now want to install DB2 on Linux, which we have seen like how to create a database. Okay, so the next thing which we'll see is, assume that I have created a database. Now inside the database, what all things can be there? We have seen like a database is nothing but it's a collection of objects. So you'll see a lot of things inside the database. You'll see tables, you'll see views, you'll see indexes, you will see aliases, we'll see cover everything. You will also see table spaces, buffer pools. So in this class we'll see basically what is table space basically. Okay, so table space is important, so try to understand this very carefully. Okay, so if you're wondering what is a table space, simple thing, a table space is nothing but an object in a database. Okay, so a table is an object, a view is an object, an index is an object. On the same way, in a database you can have a table spaces basically. Okay, so I'll tell you very simply what is table space, why should you create table spaces, how many types of table spaces are there. So we'll go step by step basically. Okay, first try to understand what is a table space. So simple definition is, a table space is nothing but an object in a database. Okay, second thing is, the table space will help you to find out where the data has really stored on the disk basically. Okay, so I'll give you, let's see a simple example. Where is MS Paint? Okay, so let's say you can see here I have 3 disks basically in this example. For simplicity, let's assume that this is my C drive basically, and this is my D drive, and this is my E drive basically. So let's say my Windows box has 3 drives basically, C drive, D drive and E drive, and someone told me to create a table. Let's keep it simple. So someone told me to create a table by name employee and insert data. So let's say they told me to insert 10 GB of data basically. Okay, and so you know how to create. This is employee is a table basically. So can you create a table? Yes, you can create a table, but they told you to store the data, because when you create a table, the table is an object in a database. When you keep on inserting data to the table, the data has to be stored on some location on the disk. So it can store in C drive, or it can store in D drive, or it can store in E drive. Okay, because the data has to be physically stored on some location on the disk basically. Okay, but the question is, if I create a table by name employee, if I keep on inserting the data, or let's say I created a table by name employee, I have inserted 20 GB of data. But the question is, where is the 20 GB of data getting stored? Is it stored on C drive, or is it getting stored on E drive basically? Okay, or a second alternative question is, can I specify the location where my table data has to store? which means that, okay, I want to tell the table that, okay, store the data only on E drive. So can I do that? Yes. Or can I tell the table to store the data on both D drive and E drive? Can I tell that? Yes. Okay. So what is the mechanism in which you can tell the table data has to be stored on some specific location on the disk? So who is going to tell it? It is nothing but a tablespace is going to tell you basically. Okay. So in simple terms, a tablespace is nothing but an object which will tell you where the data has to be stored basically. So this is the main importance of a tablespace. It will tell you where the data has to be physically stored on the disk basically. Okay. So just make a note of it quickly. We'll see like how to create tablespaces and other things basically. Clear? Okay. So simple terms. Okay. So there is a flow chart to try to understand. Remember. So your table always store data on a table space, and your table space points to. So this is a flowchart. Try to understand this flowchart basically. Okay. So whenever you create a table, your table will always be stored on a table space. Your table space is nothing but will point to some location on the disk. Let's say I am creating a table space and pointing to D drive. Okay. So if you create a table on that table space, so whatever be the data which you insert on that table will go and store in the D drive basically. Simple examples. Okay. Let me show you an example. Okay. So that you can clearly understand this. Let's say I'm creating, make a note of this, okay? So I'm creating a table space by name TS1, name of the table space. So I'm pointing to D drive, okay? So let's say I want to create a table which is storing data on TS1. So where is TS1 pointing to? Your TS1 pointing to D drive. So when whatever be the data which you are inserting in employee will be stored on this table space, it will be stored on D drive. So all the data will be stored on D drive basically. Okay. Second example, let's say I'm creating another table space by name TS2 which is pointing to E drive and F drive. So can my table space point to two different drives? Yes. So if you create a table by name staff or something, just an example, so your staff is pointing to TS2, your TS2 is pointing to E drive and F drive, which means that, so what will be the data which you insert into staff, it will be stored on E drive and F drive basically. So this is very important. So the table space is an object which is going to tell you where the data has to be physically stored on the disk basically. Okay. So just make a note of these examples. We'll see the examples and we'll create how to create a table spaces and other things. Clear? Any questions like what is the table space? Why should I create a table space? See, remember in companies, they don't want you to store the DB2 data in whatever with the places you can store. Let's say if I have 5 drives on Windows, you cannot store data on any drive of your choice basically. In company, each team has its own location where it has to store the data. Okay. In one of my company client projects, we have 5 drives like C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, and G drive, and they always tell us to store the data only on F drive and G drive for DB2 data. Okay. And if they say it, you have to make sure that all the DB2 data which is going to only F drive and G drive. Okay. So if you simply create a table, insert the data, you have to control the data to go to only F drive and G drive. So what you have to do, first create a table space, and the table space should be pointing to F drive and G drive. Okay. Then after that, if you create a table and if you keep on inserting the data, so the data will be stored on the table space, and the table space, as if it is pointing to F drive and G drive, your data will be stored in F drive and G drive basically. Okay. So we'll see the syntaxes, how to create it and how to do the things kind of thing basically. Clear? Okay. So let's see the syntaxes, how to create the table spaces. Let's see how to, can I give you another table data? Yes. See, a table space can have multiple tables. So if you want to put project table here or department table here, yes. So table space is nothing but a pointer to the disk location. So you can store any number of tables on the table space basically. That acceptable, completely acceptable. That's it. Okay. So I'll write the syntax for table space so that you can see the syntax first, then we'll start creation of the things. Okay. So table space, basically they are classified into two types of table spaces are there in DB2 basically. I'll give you the names. Okay. And before that, let me see one more thing here. Okay. So when I say your table is storing data on a table space and your table space is pointing to hard disk, remember in the hard disk your data is stored in directories and your data is stored in files. So remember, in the disk, when I say my data is getting stored, your data can be stored in files. I'll tell you how the data is stored in files. Your data can also be stored in directories, or we call it as folders in Windows. Okay. So remember, when I say when we can create a table space, when you create a table space, your table space data can store in files and your table space data can be stored in directories basically. Okay. So we'll see how to store the data in files. We'll see directories are nothing but you just need to point out to a folder and DB2 will store the data there basically. Okay. If you point out to a file, DB2 will store the data. Okay. So you can create a table space which is pointing to a file, or you can create a table space which is pointing to the directories also basically. Okay. So according to this, you can store data in files and okay, as I told you, if you can store data in directories or you can store data in files. Okay. So according to this, in DB2 there are different types of table spaces. Okay. In DB2 we have two types of table spaces. Basically we call it as SMS table space, another is DMS table space. So how many types of table spaces are there in DB2? We have two types of table spaces. One we call it as SMS, another is called DMS. So this we call it as system manager table space. Another is something which we call it as database manager table space. So how many types of table spaces are there? There are two types of table spaces basically. One is SMS, which stands for System Manager Table Space. Another is DMS, which is Database Manager Table Spaces basically. So there are two types of table spaces in DB2. So make a note of it. So remember, if you are creating an SMS table space, you are storing data in directories. And if you are creating a DMS table spaces, you are storing data in files. So we'll see the syntaxes, so just make a note of it. There are two types of table spaces. One is SMS, another is DMS. In SMS, you'll be storing data in directories, whereas in DMS, you'll be storing data in file. Okay, so let's see the syntax how to create it. Let's see. Okay, I'll write the syntax. So just make a note of it. Okay, syntax. So TBSP is nothing but table space. Okay, so simple syntax is so first make a note of it. I'll give you an examples how to create. So this is a simple syntax in which. So this is a simple syntax through which you can create the table spaces. So just make a note of it. We'll create both SMS and DMS type of table spaces. So you can see here, if you want to create an SMS table space, just make a note of your SMS, create table space name. You have to write a keyword called managed by system. System database stands for DMS. So let's start with SMS. So syntax is create table space name, managed by system, which means SMS. Using, you have to specify the directory location. Okay, any directory location which you specify, DB2 will go there and store the data in that directory basically. Okay. Contrast, if you want to create a DMS table space, create table space name, managed by, you have to write a keyword called database. You have to write a keyword called using file, the location where you want to store the data, and you have to specify the size of the file. Okay. So when you say size, the size can be, you can specify in terms of kilobytes, or you can specify megabytes, or you can specify in terms of gigabytes. Mostly in companies they will specify in terms of gigabytes only basically, because the data will be very huge in companies basically. Okay. Okay. We'll see the locations and directory locations. Okay. For example, if you want to create, let's take a Windows example. Okay. So in Windows, the directories will be like, let's say, so let's see, I have created a directory by name this location. So where SMS data is a folder or a directory which I'm creating. Okay. So simple thing. Okay. I'll create, here I don't have, okay, I'll have only C drive. Okay. I'll create a directory here. So how to create a directory in Windows? SMS data. Just an example I'm showing you. Okay. So you can give this path. The path is C drive SMS data. So this is a directory location basically. Okay. So if you create a table space which is SMS, so syntax is create table space name, any name which you can give here, managed by SMS system, managed by system, which means that you are creating an SMS table spaces using directory location. So this is the directory location which I'm specifying. Okay. So what happens really internally is DB2 will store the data basically there, and DB2 will DB2 will store the data into the directory which you specify there basically. Okay. So whatever be the directory which you want to create there, DB2 will store the directory into the directory basically. Okay. Clear? Any questions to this point? Okay. So, hello? Any questions? Hello? Yeah, speak up.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Shiva. Speak up.
Actually, table space is nothing but just like data store చేయడానికి సరైన పాత్రని డెస్టినేషన్ చూపిస్తుంది అంతేనా సార్ దానివల్ల?
అంతే అంతే, మీకు డేటా ఏ డ్రైవ్ లో పెట్టాలో చెప్తుంది అంతే బేసిక్లీ.
అంతే, దానివల్ల ఇంకా వేరే ఇంకా టేబుల్స్ ని మేనేజ్ చేయడం అలా ఏమి ఉండదు.
అదే ద పెర్ఫార్మెన్స్ కమ్స్. మీ స్పీకర్ లో ఉన్నారా? సో I can hear my background. Okay, so basically it's not only the physical storage, the performance factors also depends upon the type of tablespace where you store basically. Okay, నేను చెప్తాను, we'll cover those things, but ఇప్పటికీ మీరు at very high level you can think it of as it's a physical location where you want to store the data basically only. Okay, so this is how you store the data in SMS. Okay, on if you want to create DMS tablespace, the same syntax, create tablespace name managed by database. But DMS చేస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి you have to write a keyword called database. తర్వాత ఏం రాయాలి? యూజింగ్ కింద రాయాలి. కింద ఏం రాయాలంటే ఆప్షన్ చూడండి, మీరు ఇక్కడ జాగ్రత్తగా చూడండి. బికమ్ ఫైల్, లొకేషన్ రాయాలి. లొకేషన్ లో ఏదో ఒకటి రాసుకోవచ్చు మీరు, ఈ డ్రైవ్, ఈఎంపీ, అవుట్ ఏదో ఒక ఫైల్ నేమ్ పెట్టాను అక్కడ, డమ్మీ ఫైల్ నేమ్. ఓకే, ఐఎమ్ స్పెసిఫైయింగ్ 20M. ఇక్కడ చెప్పాను చూడండి మీకు, ద సైజ్ which you are specifying, you can specify in terms of kilobytes, megabytes or gigabytes. In companies you store huge amount of data, they go with gigabytes. You can just example నేను ఇక్కడ ఏమిచ్చాను 20 megabyte. అంటే దీని మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే basically you are telling DB2 that this is a file and I want to store data here, and the maximum amount of data which I want to store to this file is 20 megabytes basically. Okay, so this is what the procedure for creation of table spaces in DB2 basically. Okay, any questions till this point? How to create SMS and how to create DMS? Okay, so we'll see. Just make a note of these things, how to create in Windows. Note cheskondi. I'll tell you how to create those things in Linux also basically. So it's Linux also is very simple. Okay, let's see how it happens. So Linux, మీరు ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ if you can see here, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లో ఉన్నాను? SAPT ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లో ఉన్నాను. మీకు ఒకసారి చెప్పాను నేను ఆల్రెడీ. So if you are in this SAP instance, what is your home directory? This is your home directory basically. Okay, so మీ home directory ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇక్కడ basically the home directory for you will be /home/db2sapt. Okay, so ఇక్కడ మీరు Linux లో డైరెక్టరీస్, Linux కమాండ్ చూసుకోండి. How to create a directory in Linux? The command is mkdir. Okay, ఇదేం చేస్తుంటే it creates a directories basically. Okay, నేను Linux ఓపెన్ చేసి చూపిస్తాను చూడండి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏ పాత్లో ఉన్నారు? ఇప్పుడు మీరు you are in the path /home/db2 sapt, which is nothing but the home directory. Okay, so can I create a directory? మీరు Windows లో directories ఎలా create చేస్తారు? I think a lot of people you know how to create directories in Windows. If you want to create a directory in Windows, just go to the drive basically and right click and say new and create folder. It's somewhat simple. Windows lo create cheyam. This is the way in which you create it. Linux lo, as I told you before, everything Linux, AX or anything you create through commands. So ఇక్కడ command ఏంటంటే mkdir. mk అంటే make dir and directory. Okay, so sms data in. So you can see here I'm creating a directory. The directory name is sms data. Okay, సో ఎక్కడ క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది డైరెక్టరీ? మీ హోమ్ డైరెక్టరీలో క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది. సో మీ హోమ్ డైరెక్టరీ అంతా /home/db2 sapt. ఇందులో ఏ డైరెక్టరీ విల్ బి క్రియేటెడ్ బై నేమ్ sms data basically. Okay, so if you want to see the complete path of this directory, and the complete path just మీకు knowledge కోసం, so the complete path will be what I have created is /home/dc/sms data. So this is a complete location of your directory path basically. Clear? అందరికీ ఓకే. సో చూడండి, ఇప్పుడు నేను క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను, ఎస్ఎంఎస్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను, డిఎంఎస్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఫస్ట్ నేను ఏం చేస్తాను, ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు కనెక్ట్ టు ద డేటాబేస్. సో ఇప్పుడు మీరు అడగచ్చు, సో వై యూఆర్ కనెక్టింగ్ టు ద డేటాబేస్ అంటే నేను చెప్పాను మీకు ఆల్రెడీ, ఈ టేబుల్ స్పేస్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ అన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఇన్ ఏ డేటాబేస్. ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఎప్పుడు డేటాబేస్ లోపల క్రియేట్ చేయాలి. సో దట్స్ వై ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు కనెక్ట్ టు డేటాబేస్. ఏ డేటాబేస్ లో క్రియేట్ చేస్తానో శాంపుల్ లో క్రియేట్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటాం. దట్స్ వై ఫస్ట్ ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు కనెక్ట్ టు ద శాంపుల్ సో దట్ ఐ కెన్ క్రియేట్ ఎ టేబుల్ స్పేస్ హియర్ బేసికలీ. ఓకే, సో ఫస్ట్ లెట్స్ క్రియేట్ ఎస్ఎంఎస్. ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేయాలి? DB2 సింటాక్స్ చెప్పాను, క్రియేట్ టేబుల్ స్పేస్ ఏదో పేరు ఇవ్వండి, తర్వాత మేనేజ్డ్ బై సిస్టమ్ యూజింగ్ డైరెక్టరీ పాత్. నేను ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడ డైరెక్టరీ క్రియేట్ చేసిన పైన ఎస్ఎంఎస్ డేటా సింపుల్ గా ఉంటుంది. చూడండి, సో యూ కెన్ see that your okay, so on the same ways can I create a DMS table space? The syntax రెండు ఇప్పుడు క్లియర్గా చేసుకోవచ్చు. DMS లో ఏమో అది కూడా సేమ్ సింటాక్స్ డేటాబేస్ రాయాలి యూజింగ్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను. జస్ట్ యూ కెన్ ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్. క్రియేట్ టేబుల్ స్పేస్ DMS managed by database using file location. ఏదో ఫైల్ పేరు, మీ ఫైల్ పేరు. సో యూ నీడ్ నాట్ ఆల్వేస్ గివ్ డాట్ అవుట్ ఎక్స్టెన్షన్స్. యూ కెన్ గివ్ ఎనీ ఎక్స్టెన్షన్స్ ఫర్ ద ఫైల్ నేమ్. ఇక్కడ నేను సింప్లిసిటీ కోసం డాట్ అవుట్ ఇస్తున్నాను. యూ కెన్ గివ్ ఎనీ ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ బేసిక్లీ. ఓకే, so you can see the table space is created. Okay, this is the example. Clear? Okay. Make a note of it fastly. Any questions like how to create the table spaces both SMS and DMS? Okay. Okay, so we'll move further. Okay. ఇక్కడ చూడండి మీకు. So what we are seeing till now is so మీకు ఇదే చెప్పాను. ఒక table always stores data on a table space. A table space points to hard disk. It can point to a file or it can point to a directory. Files point out చేస్తాం. We are saying that it's a DMS table space. Directories point చేస్తే it in SMS table space అని చెప్తున్నాం basically. Okay. So ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేశానంటే I have created a table space which is SMS and I have created a table space which is DMS. So నేను రెండు types of table spaces create చేశాను. SMS ఒకటి DMS ఒకటి create చేశాను. ఓకే. సో నెక్స్ట్ ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఐ వాంట్ టు క్రియేట్ ఏ టేబుల్. ఓకే. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక టేబుల్ దీని మీద పెడదాం అనుకుంటున్నాను, ఇంకొక టేబుల్ దీని మీద పెడదాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఓకే. సో మై రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఈస్ ఐ వాంట్ టు క్రియేట్ టూ టేబుల్స్. వన్ ఈస్ ఎంప్లాయ్ టేబుల్, another is చూడండి the syntax and everything looks odd for you now, but ఇది రేపు పొద్దున మీకు పెర్ఫార్మెన్స్ బెనిఫిట్ కావాలన్నా టేబుల్ ఫాస్ట్ గా రిట్రీవ్ అవ్వాలన్నా ఈ డిజైన్స్ మీకు బాగా హెల్ప్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే. సో జస్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకుని ట్రై చేయండి. ఇది ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ బేసికలీ. ఓకే. సో మై రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఈస్ ఐ వాంట్ టు క్రియేట్ ఎ టేబుల్ బై నేమ్ ఎంప్లాయ్ and I want to create a table by name staff. Okay, so I want to create two tables. ఇక్కడ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఏంటంటే నా ఎంప్లాయ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు స్టోర్ ఇట్ ఆన్. ఇప్పుడు ఎన్ని టేబుల్ స్పేసెస్ టీఎస్ ఎస్ఎంఎస్ ఇప్పుడే క్రియేట్ చేశాను మీకు. స్టాఫ్ అనేది టీఎస్ డిఎంఎస్ మీద స్టోర్ చేద్దాం అనుకున్నాను. ఓకే. సో కెన్ ఐ స్టోర్ దిస్ టేబుల్ ఆన్ దిస్ టేబుల్ స్పేస్? ఎస్. కెన్ ఐ స్టోర్ స్టాఫ్ ఆన్ దిస్ టేబుల్ స్పేస్? ఎస్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తుంటే ఇది దేని పాయింట్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది? ఇది ఎస్ఏపిటి ఎస్ఎంఎస్ డేటా పాయింట్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది. అలాగే మీకు స్టాఫ్ అని వేరే టేబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను. ఇది దేనికి పాయింట్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది? సో దిస్ ఈస్ పాయింటింగ్ టు DB2 SAPT EMPT డాట్ అవుట్. ఓకే. సో దీనికి పాయింట్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది. సో స్టాఫ్ వెళ్ళి దీమే పెట్టాలనుకుంటున్నాను. సో దిస్ షుడ్ పాయింట్ టు దిస్. ఓకే. సో whenever I insert data to staff, the data will be inserted to this file. ఓకే. ఈ ఫైల్ కి maximum size కూడా ఇచ్చాను. The size is 20 MB. అలాగే when I am trying to insert data to employee, employee data should store data in this table space and this should point to this location basically. Okay. So ela cheppali how to specify like employee has to store data onto this table space, and it's very simple. We have a syntax for that. Table ela create chesaru, you know how to create the tables. Simple syntax is create table. Let's say I want to create employee with ID integer, employee name with character. Then table definition అయిపోయిన తర్వాత లాస్ట్ లో ఒక ఆప్షన్ పెడతారు. ఓకే. ఇన్ అని పెట్టి you have to specify the table space name basically. Okay. So if you look at this syntax, ఇది important syntax లో ఇది basic table creation syntax ఇక్కడ దాకా. So which most of the people might know. ఈ last లో you will see something extra which is called in. So in will specify in which table space you are putting the table basically. Okay. Here in this example, I want to put table employee in TS SMS. So ఇక్కడ ఏం రాస్తారంటే మీరు in I want to put it in TS SMS. So this table goes to this table space which is by name TS SMS basically. Okay. Clear? This is the way in which you create tables in DB2. This is the way in which you can put tables on a table spaces. This is the way in which your table space can point to either files or directories basically. Okay. So note just I'll just create it quickly. Yeah, so if the data exceeds 20 GB, if you still try to insert data, your insertion to the table will fail. So we have commands to increase the size, we have commands to decrease the size. Okay. So for creating, we are running command called create table space. For increasing or decreasing, we can run alter table space. So we can increase the size of a table space by using alter table space. I'll tell you the commands, but anything which you want to change, alter table space in DB2 basically. So definitely we can increase it, and if you want to decrease it also, you can decrease it basically. Okay. So we'll see those scenarios. First note cheskondi. Okay. Okay, so let me run it and show you. Okay. So dummy ga రెండు tables create చేద్దాం మీకు చూపించడానికి. Okay, create table emp test id integer name character of 20 in ts sms. అది sms table space లో కొడుతున్నాం. The name of object is existing, ఆ పేరుతో already ఉందంటుంది. So we'll rename the table name emp temp అని పెడదాం అంతే. You can see here the table is created with name emp temp and this is storing data on this table space. అలాగే SMS లో కూడా పెట్టాలి అంటే మీ ఇష్టం మీరు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు basically. Okay, create table emp, we'll put some other table staff test id int same syntax పెడదాం ఏదైనా ఒకటి మనకి. So if you look at both the examples, we have created some tables which is storing on SMS and another thing is which is storing on DMS basically. Okay, note చేసుకోండి fast గా. Okay, clear? Okay. So we'll move further. Okay. So till now we have seen like how many types of table space are there, how to create a table on the top of table spaces. Okay. So there are a lot of characteristics for table spaces. Like if you want to find out the number of table spaces, so you can create a lot number of table spaces here basically. Okay. So there are other syntaxes also to find out more characteristics about the table spaces, which we'll see. Okay. So if you want to find out number of table spaces in a database, if you want to find out how many table spaces are there, the command is list table spaces. So I'm just making note of it. So this is a command to find the number of table spaces. Okay. I have seen like a database having more than 350 table spaces, 400 table spaces. It can have more number of things basically. Okay. So just to find out how many table spaces are there, the command is list table spaces. Okay. So I'll run the command here. So if you want to find out how many table spaces are there, the command is list table spaces as shown here. Okay. So you can see there are a lot of table spaces which are created basically. Okay. You can see the table space 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you can see the last two. These are the table spaces which I just created. If you remember, the names are the TS SMS, another name is TS DMS basically. Okay. So we'll see the characteristic. Each table space you'll get such details basically. Okay. So we'll see each and everything. Okay. So for this, let's start with this table space. Okay. You can see here each table space DB2 will uniquely generate an ID which is called tablespace ID. Okay. So you can see here for TS SMS DB2 has generated ID called 6 basically. Okay. You can see this is the name of table space, and if you want to find out what kind of table space this is SMS table space which was given by DB2. We have created SMS table space, that's why DB2 is showing it as SMS table space kind of thing. Okay. This is not important. Okay. It just tells the what kind of data is stored. The last is important. You can see a state here, whether the table space is in good state or bad state basically. Okay. If your table space is not working or if your table space is not functional, the state won't be normal basically. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. Okay. Chudandi me simple ga entante, let's say my employee table undi. Employee table is present on TS1 table space which is storing data on emp.out which is something say 200 GB example ki. Okay. So when you keep on inserting data, so it is going to table space, it is going to this file. Let's say this file got corrupted due to some reason, or someone has accidentally deleted this file. Okay. So if this file is not there, can you still read the data? No, because when you do select star from table name, it will indirectly read the data from table space. It will indirectly read the data from this file. But due to some reason, if this file is corrupted, let's say this file got corrupted, can my employee data be retrieved, or can I run the queries to get the output? No, your queries will fail because it is unable to read the data from the table space. Okay, so can I check something which will tell me whether my table space is in good state or bad state? Okay, so if you want to see the state of a table space, this is the column where this is the row which you have to look for. Always remember your table space should be in normal state. You can see that all the table spaces should be in normal state. Okay, if due to some reason if the file is corrupted or someone has accidentally deleted the file, then it will show the table space as abnormal state or offline states basically. Okay. So in companies, people will do something like health checkups basically. Health checkups means they will try to see whether the database is up and running, whether the database has all the is in good state basically. So one of the health check which they do is to look at the table space state. They check whether the table space is in normal state or not. If it is not in normal state, then they look for what else they can be done to make it normal basically. Okay. On the same lines, you can see here for this table space, DB2 has given an ID of 7. The name of the table space, what kind of table space it is DMS table space. You can see the state. The state is normal here basically. Clear? Any questions to this point? Okay, I'll do a simple example. Okay, what I'll do, if you remember here, you can see here. Okay, where is this? Okay. Okay. See what I did basically, I created a table space by name TS DMS, and I have stored the data in path home DB2 SAPT. I think I have created a table by name staff test or something. Okay. So this is what I did. So what I'll do, I'll delete this file and let's see what is the state of my table space. Okay. The state should not be normal if I delete this file. Okay. So before deletion of this file, you can see the state is normal. So what I'll do, I think I should be having the file. Okay. So this is the file. What I'll do, I'll remove this file. So remember in Linux, if you want to make a note of these commands in Linux, if you want to remove files, the command is called rm. What rm will do, it will remove the files. So make a note of it. So the syntax is rm followed by file name. So whatever the file which you are giving, it will delete it basically. Okay. In Windows, I'm just trying to compare with Windows. If Windows, how do you delete it? If I want to delete any file here, just go here and you say delete will delete it basically, or you can just click here and say delete button, delete it will delete it, and it's as simple as that in Windows. But Linux, the command is rm, which means that remove. Which file you want to remove, you have to specify the file name. So make a note of it. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Okay, I already removed the file. So what I'll do, I'll just stop the database. We'll remove the connection to the database. How to stop the database? I told you the commands also. Deactivate will stop the database, and activate will start the database. So let me connect to database. So if you do list table spaces, which will show, you can see the last state. You can see here now it is offline state. The rest of the things you can see it as a normal state. The reason why it went to offline is because it is that table space is pointing to some file which was deleted by me basically. So you don't have access to the file. That's why it is in offline state basically. Okay. So it happens in company someone accidentally deletes a file, your tablespace goes to a bad state or an abnormal state. So if you want to find it, so this is the commands basically. Okay. And I'll give you the syntaxes. Someone was asking me, I told you, okay, same example. Let's say, I'll put it down. So the same example, let's say this is the table space which I created with 20M. I'm putting less sizes, but in companies you won't create with 20M. It will be in terms of GBs. But this is a lab exercise, so let's keep it simple. Okay. So let's say this table space is of 20M, and someone is inserting data to staff test. So when they insert it, it gets inserted to this file basically. Okay. Let's say my 20M of size is got filled up basically. Okay. So if you still try to insert data to the staff test, the insert won't be successful. It will say that the table space is full. The table space is full because we have specified the maximum size as 20M, and 20M has reached it basically. Okay. So question is, can I increase the size of a table space? Can I make it as 40 or 50? Yes. Can I decrease the size of the table space in case if I need it? Yes, you can do. Can I increase or decrease it? Basically, yes, basically. Okay. So any changes to the table space, any modifications, any changes to the table space, you can make it through alter table space commands. Okay. So alter table space commands are used for increasing the size of a table space, for decreasing the size of the table space. Okay. So just make a note of the syntaxes today. Okay. We'll see in detail. Okay. Command is alter table space, your table space name. You have to put a keyword called extend or the TM. I'll just write an example so make a note of it. So just make a note of it. I'll see the scenarios. Clear? So if you look at these syntaxes, so alter tablespace extend, let's say, let's take an example. Let's say my initial size is 20 M. Okay, my tablespace got filled up, which is 20 M. Okay, I want to increase it. So let's say I'm running this command alter tablespace name extend all by 30 M. So you can see here you want to increase the size. Extends means from this point how much you want to increase basically. Let's say you have a compound wall for your home, you want to extend it by 2 feet, which means that from that point how much you want to increase it basically. Okay, so if your tablespace is 20 M, from that point you want to increase or you want to extend it by 30 M. So if you run this command, your new tablespace size will be basically previous size, which is 20 M, plus extend size is 30 M, so it will become 50 M basically. So try to understand this very carefully. Extend means from that point how much it has to increase basically. From 20 M we are extending it by 30 more M, so your new tablespace size becomes 50 M basically. Okay, so make a note of it basically. Clear? So if I want to see, I'll run it and show you. Okay. Okay. Let me create new. Okay. Create table space TS1 managed by database using file DB2 CPT. So I have created a table space. So let's assume that the table space got filled up. So I want to extend it by 30 M. So the same syntax what I have shown you, TS1. How much I want to extend it? Extend all by 30 M. Sorry. So if you see this command, I'm extending with 30 M, which means that your table space becomes 20 M. From this point, how much to extend? Another 30, so it becomes 50 M basically. 20 plus 30 is equal to 50 basically. Clear basically? So let's assume that my table space is 50 M. Someone is running a command, okay, they want to reduce the size. So how to reduce the size? So this command basically alter tablespace name, reduce all by 10M basically. Okay, so let's assume that your tablespace is 50M. So how much they want to reduce? They want to reduce by 10M. So your tablespace becomes 50M minus 10M, which is equal to 40M. So reduce by 10M, which means that your new tablespace size becomes 40M basically. Okay, so make a quick note of it. I'll run the command and show you. So these things you will definitely run in the companies. So make a quick note of it. So increasing the size of a table space, decreasing, monitoring table space is very common feature which most of the database people will do. Okay, so if I want to, I can run the command and show you. I'll run the command. You can see that I'm trying to reduce it. So before it was 40M, so I reduced it by 10M. So your table space become what to say 40M now basically. Okay, so how to check the current size of a table space? I'll tell you. There is a command for that. Okay, but for now, if you want to check the size of a table space, I'll give you the command. Okay, so tomorrow we can see how to check it basically. So the command is list table spaces show detail. So just make a note of this command. We'll see in detail tomorrow. Okay. Checking the size of table space. So make a note of this command. Today we'll see. Tomorrow we'll see in detail like how to look at the table space sizes and how to whether it is increasing or not basically. Okay, so we'll see the last thing, which is resize. So here you can see that your table space size is 40M. So this is bit okay. Resize, what exactly the resize will do basically? Resize will try to change the table space size to the value which you specify here basically. Okay, so which means that your table space size is 40M. So what is the new value to which you want to change basically? If you say resize, I want to resize it with 70M, so your table space size becomes 70M basically. Okay, resize in simple terms means what is the new value to which you want to change it. So using resize, you can increase the table space size or you can decrease the table space size also basically. Okay, so remember a resize does the same thing what extend is doing, because through resize also we can increase the size. Resize can also do the same thing what reduce is doing, which means that I can also reduce the size of a table space basically. Okay, so you can do both the ways basically. Okay, so if you want to see the command, I'll just try to show you. You can see here I'm trying to run the resize command basically, which is trying to decrease or increase the size of a table space. Okay, so at any time if you feel that the space is not sufficient, the space is getting filled up, you can either do extend or you can do resize. If you want to reduce the size of a table space, you can do reduce or you can do resize. Okay, so resize can be used for both increasing the size of a table space and it can be also used for decreasing the size of a table space. You can use in either ways basically. Okay. So any questions till this point? We'll stop it for today. So tomorrow I'll tell you there's the table spaces will take 2 more days. So don't worry, I'll cover each and every thing like how to look at the size and how to add a new table space container, how to remove a container. So there are a lot of things which you'll be doing with table spaces in the offices, in the companies, in the teams as well. Okay. So any questions till this point before we stop it for today? Okay, so before winding up the class, see, try to do this part because let's all be in sync basically. Okay, it's good if you start practicing the sessions basically. So as I told you before, uh, uh, so okay, where is the steps? Okay, this is the one. So do the same thing. So first download the software VMware Workstation 10. I think all the people have link. I just send you the Google Drive link again. So if you have already downloaded from yesterday, you can do it. If not, you can just open the VMware and download the software. Unzip the software. I told you how to unzip it. Simple, as simple as that. Go to the, once you download the software, just right click it and say WinZip extract to the folder, some folder or your choice of directory basically. Okay. Can you please send me the link for Windows? Okay. I'll send you. Okay. So once you are here, once you extract it, you'll see what to say, the 3 boxes kind of icon, or you can see the type as VMware virtual machine. See, all the files will mostly have the same name, so you'll get confused. So look at the type of the file which is having configuration, machine configuration or something. Okay, just right click it here and open with VMware Workstation. You will be getting it. So first install the VMware Workstation, then download it, then open it. You will see the Linux machine coming up. Once the Linux machine is up, you need to log on. So you have the credentials. The username is root and the password is Red Hat. So once you log on, you can do all those things. Okay. So if you're stuck somewhere, put me email. I'll be checking my emails. I'll respond to you emails basically. Okay. So any questions before we wind it out for today? Okay. So Kiran, you want it for 32-bit or 64-bit? The software link basically. 32-bit. Let me check it quickly. I think I am having 64-bit. I need to check for 32-bit. Just a second. Give me 1 minute. I'll check it up quickly. I think I should be having. Okay, I'll forward you the link. I'll send you the link somehow. Okay, or I'll just give me 1 minute. I'll give you the link right away. Let's not waste another day for it. So you want it for latest? Okay, 10.5. So you can also go to this link, but and download the software. See here you can see Windows 32-bit because you're asking for Windows 32. Go here. So you can download this file basically. Server means server edition basically. I'm clicking on server. You got it right? So when go to Windows 32, go to server fix pack and try to download this file. Okay. So once you download this file, you can simply install it. I'll tell you how to install it. Okay. Just click on here. It will ask you for your email ID. Okay. If you don't have the email ID, you just need to register there. Okay. So if you register there, it will ask you for download. You just need to download it basically. So here, if you don't have the ID, you just create an ID. You need not have an IBM. You should not be working in IBM. It's just an ID where they want to track it. Okay. So you can give your Gmail ID or something basically. First register here. So once you're registered, you can download the software basically. So I'll give you the link. So go to the link and download it. So if you still have any questions, you can ask me basically. Okay.
సార్ అంటే ఏ ఎడిషన్ తో
Clear?
మనకి అవసరం లేదు సార్. హలో.
Any other questions before we stop it for today?
హలో
Okay,
సార్.
so if you don't have anything, we'll stop it for today. Yeah, can you tell me? Yeah.
మనకి
Yeah,
ఏ
tell me.
ఎడిషన్
Yeah.
డౌన్లోడ్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఎడిషన్ తో ఏం అవసరం లేదు సార్ అయితే. ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ ఎడిషన్ అన్నా లేదంటే
ఎడిషన్ కాదు, ఇక్కడ మీరు సర్వర్ ఎడిషన్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తున్నారు కదా, ఇక్కడ నేను ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చేది మీకు ఈ ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ వస్తుంది ఇక్కడ. సో ఇక్కడ డౌన్లోడ్ ఇట్.
ఓకే, ఇన్బిల్ట్ గా ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ వచ్చేసి డైరెక్ట్ గా.
ఈ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ మీరు ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసినప్పుడు కాదు, నేను చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు మీరు సాఫ్ట్వేర్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తారు కదా, అప్పుడు అడుగుతుంది మీకు ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తారా, వర్క్ గ్రూప్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తారా, ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ అని. అక్కడ మీరు ఏ ఆప్షన్ ఇస్తే దాన్ని బట్టి ఇన్స్టాల్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే సార్, నా క్లియర్.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇది డౌన్లోడ్ చేసిన తర్వాత మీరు ఇన్స్టలేషన్కి ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ ఫైల్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తారు కదా, అప్పుడు మీకు ఆప్షన్స్ చూపిస్తుంది. ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ కావాలా, వర్క్ గ్రూప్ కావాలా, ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ కావాలా. మీరు ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటే ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ డౌన్లోడ్ అవుతుంది అక్కడ. ఓకే
ఓకే సార్, ఎర్లియర్ కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంది, ఇప్పుడు ఓకే సార్, క్లియర్.
ఓకే అది. యా. Any other questions? Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, okay. So if you don't have anything, we'll stop it. We'll meet tomorrow then. Yeah, bye.